Barca fans, ready for the latest news? The partnership between Robert Lewandowski and Rafinha at FC Barcelona is marking a new era in football. The offensive contribution of the duo of Lewandowski and Rafinha is simply remarkable. Together, they scored 31 of the team's 55 goals, accounting for more than half of Barca's offensive output. Under the leadership of Hansi Flick, Lewandowski and Rafinha's performances reached new heights. Flick managed to reinvigorate the game of the PAU while making the most of the Brazilians' talents. After an impressive 5-2 victory against Red Star in Belgrade, Barca is positioned as the most prolific team in Europe with a total of 55 goals, a record that had not been achieved for 85 years. Lewandowski with his 19 goals and Rafinha with 12, all competitions combined, are the pillars of this offensive success. After the final day of the Champions League, Lewandowski and Rafinha found themselves at the top of the goal scorers standings, with 5 goals each in 4 games. Their efficiency is impressive, with an average of 1.25 goals per game for each striker. It should also be mentioned that their success is also based on a new positioning and redefined roles within the team. Rafinha, playing as both a winger and a playmaker, takes advantage of Barca's game strategy, which now favors speed and counter-attacks. The overall improvement of the team under Flick also contributed to this dynamic. In the Spanish league, these two strikers have 21 goals in 12 games. If their performance continues like this, they will undoubtedly make history. Meanwhile, Real Sociedad, which is due to face Barca soon, is already planned. Good news has come about the recording of DANI, OLMO and PAU Victor. The countdown has begun. There are now 2 months left before the end of the registration period for DANI, OLMO and PAU Victor. Although the last city has not yet found its place because of the good performance of Robert Lewandowski, who has a string of goals, DANI OLMO is currently shining, scoring a goal in less than an hour on the field. His absence was even felt during the team's first defeat against AS Monaco in the Champions League. From January 1st, 2 players will no longer be eligible to participate in the games, which raises concerns, but good news has occurred on this subject. Despite concerns about the recordings of the 2 recruits, the club of Catalonia remains quiet. President Joan Laporta said at the last general meeting that there would be no problem with the registration of the 2 players. However, it will be necessary to generate income to cover a deficit of €60 million as indicated by Laporta. There are 2 revenue opportunities: the renegotiation of a contract with Nike, which could be historic, and the search for new investors for the Bridberg. Great news for both players and Catalan fans as the deal with Nike moves forward and would be in the final stages. Barcelona would be interested in Karim Adeyemi of Borussia Dortmund and would be ready to offer Ferran Torres as part of a potential exchange. The 22-year-old striker has attracted the attention of several European clubs, including Liverpool, because of his speed and offensive capabilities. Despite financial concerns, Barcelona is determined to get Adeyemi, and the inclusion of Torres could help reduce the cost of the transfer. Adeyemi is currently valued at around €50 million, and this exchange could make the operation more affordable. The Catalan club, which is currently relying on experienced striker Robert Lewandowski, is looking to add a younger and versatile striker to strengthen its attack. Adeyemi could bring the energy and depth they need into their offensive line. This exchange highlights Barcelona's continued efforts to improve its workforce while navigating its financial constraints, with Torres potentially playing a key role in securing the Dortmund star's signature. Pedri commented on the importance Hansi Flick attaches to the discipline in a recent interview. He was asked if the coach would put on the bench a player as important as Robert Lewandowski in a crucial match, such as a Champions League semi-final, if he came only 5 minutes late in practice. Pedri replied, "Yes, it happened in Condé. He arrived late and was put on the bench in the next game." He added, "What makes Flick more different is his attention to those who don't participate in games, because he's going to talk to them and check on them. Flick is a very close person with very clear ideas. As a German, he is very organized and makes us have fun on the field. Rafinha deserves a Ballon d'Or for the way he trains," PAU Victor told Zappala Radio. The Brazilian is often described as a player who works particularly hard in training, especially this season. After Rafinha's hat-trick against Bayern Munich in the Champions League, Hans-Dieter Flick said he had never had a player so committed and hardworking in his teams. The 27-year-old has scored 12 goals and delivered 9 assists in 16 appearances for Barcelona this season. When Hans-Dieter Flick set the rules, I wasn't there yet in Barcelona, but I saw them when I arrived and I was warned that I had to be careful, Pau Victor told Zappa La Radio. He's very strict about punctuality. If he says to be in training at 11 a.m. and you are 3 seconds late, for him you are late, added the 22-year-old. Being on time in training was one of Hansi Flick's iron rules at the beginning of the season. The German has reportedly punished several players since then, including Lamine Yamal. Not being late for training was also crucial for Javi, who would have applied a system of fines at the time. During a summer training session at Barca, Joan Laporta arrived at the training center to meet Hans-Dieter Flick and the players. As usual, the president of Barca was dressed formally in costume with his staff. Flick asked Laporta to dress informally next time because it was training after all, says Jordi Cardero de Relevo. Laporta acceded to the request and appeared in one of the upcoming Blaugrana tracksuit trainings, also doing some of the exercises proposed by Hansi. Earlier, it was revealed that Flick had insisted that Jules Kounde give up his extraordinary look and instead wear Barca's sportswear with the other players.